Hey guys, this is the Mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today for part 2 of my deeper look into the most recent episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 4, Episode 15, I believe it is. Okay. So in this part, I wanted to talk about the dynamic between Maurice and Kimmie, and I've pretty much stayed away from this couple for the most part because they have not had a lot of scenes on the show, and their scenes have been relatively benign compared to the other cast members, okay? And also I wanted to respect Maurice's and Kimmie's relationship because they have not been as messy as the other cast members towards Melody and Martell. But, you know, in the scene that they showed yesterday, Kimmie and Maurice were talking about their sex life. When I first saw Maurice a couple of years ago, I said that Maurice is the good cop and Marceau is the bad cop. They have this thing going on where they play off of each other and they're each other's wingman. I feel like Maurice and Marceau have this pact with each other to never discuss their infidelities in their relationships with their wives. I think Maurice got his vasectomy around the same time that Marceau did. Now, why would Maurice, who is married to a woman who is around menopause, who doesn't want any kids, who expressed many times that she does not want any kids, why would he get a vasectomy? Now, for me, that would be a huge red flag. I'm not saying that he can't do what he wants with his body, but if a man is married to a woman who is not going to have any more kids, who does not want to have any more kids, who may not even be able to have any more children, and they're supposedly married and in a committed relationship for more than 7+ years, why would he need a vasectomy all of a sudden? I think that Ariane getting pregnant put the fear of God in Marceau and Maurice. We do know that Ariane, Martell, Maurice, and Marceau were hanging out to some extent while Martell was married. They have some sort of relationship. I'm not saying they're buddy-buddy, but Ariane mentioned the fact that she got pregnant 3 times during her affair with Martell. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those times Martell told Marceau and Maurice, and they were having, like, you know, male chatter or gossip about the situation at hand. If you guys remember the first episode in season 1, Marceau and Maurice pretended not to know what the hell was going on with Martell. They was like, oh, it was intimate, it was sexual, knowing good and damn well it was. And I think that Maurice and Marceau may have found out that Martell got Ariane pregnant a couple of years ago, and they rushed to get vasectomies themselves. Or they could have had a pregnancy scare themselves. I'm just speculating here. I'm not saying this is what happened, because it would make no sense to me that 2 married men who have wives, who have expressed that they don't want to have any more kids, that they would want to get vasectomies, right? You can use condoms or whatever the case may be. You can use birth control, right? So for these 2 men, especially Maurice, because Kimmie is like in her 50s. And again, she's menopausal, or at least, or perimenopausal. She is not interested in having any more kids, and she expressed this very clearly to Maurice because she's been a single mother for all of her adult life, just about. She wants the opportunity to enjoy her life as an empty nester. She's not one of those women whose identities is completely wrapped up in her child, right? She's always had a career. She's always been able to take care of herself. She's relatively successful, level-headed, and so on. So she wouldn't be the type to have a oops baby on Maurice, okay? And so for Maurice to get a vasectomy, if he did get one, I'm not sure if he did. I think he got one. It's a red flag for me. It would mean that either Kimmie knew that he was doing his thing and didn't want to rock the boat too much, because as some women get older, some women want the opportunity to have like this honeymoon, right? They fantasize and they romanticize being married because they've never had the opportunity, right? Kimmie wants someone to have her back. She wants someone to lean on. She wants someone to talk to go on vacations with, to enjoy her single life with. She did her job and raised her son very well. He's successful. He's out the house. He's settled. It's all good. So I understand why she would take more than the average woman when it comes to Maurice. Maurice, as many women have said, is not on Kimmie's level. He just got his law degree, and in the meantime, he was trying to figure out himself while Kimmie was already established. She's about 10 years older than him, I think. So with the situation with Kimmie and Maurice all of a sudden complaining about not getting enough sex, when in seasons 1 and 2 and 3, Kimmie was complaining about not getting enough time with Maurice because of Kaiwa's feelings and, Monster moving in with them and Maurice finishing law school. It's like, how would this flip like this? Why is this narrative changing? I understand Marceau has had rumors about him from the beginning. Louis, what happened? Like, you went from having this perfect marriage to the sex life is whack. Which one is it? Either it's a fake storyline, or I think that the men are trying to retroactively justify behaviors that they have engaged in behind the scenes before something slips out by accident, right? So if Maurice and Marceau can get ahead of the story and say, oh yeah, sex is important. Is that important? Is that important? Is it that important that you're willing to destroy your relationship with somebody you don't even want to be with? Is it that important that you can't go into the bathroom or to a private space and you can't take care of your business with your hand? Is that what's happening right now? That you need to have sex so much that you cannot function and you don't have any sense or logic or respect for your wife? That even if you are feeling horny or whatever, you're lusty, you can use your hand if she's not available, right? Not to get too graphic, but these are graphic topics. But these men act like their wives are depriving them of sex altogether. Last year, Melody had an interview with Funky Dineva, right? And in the interview, she talked about her giving Martell oral sex every single day, right? And then somebody in a comment section in the chat, because I was in the chat live, this is before I started my channel. Somebody in the chat said, I'm not sucking no dick every day. I work, BITCH. And that comment just tickled me like... I could imagine a woman saying, listen, I work every freaking day. How dare you expect me to have the energy or the desire to have sex with you every single day? Yes, a couple of times a week is understandable, but every single day, twice a day, like Kimmie said, is not going to be enough. I don't know if this is a real storyline or they're making up something for the show, because Maurice has never really complained about Kimmie at all. They were dating for 7 years, right? They were dating until Jalen graduated college so that Maurice didn't have to take care of him like that. So they got married as soon as Maurice wanted Monster to live with Kimmie. He wanted Kimmie to be the surrogate mother. And he wanted to get credit for being father of the year. Now he's complaining about getting his son up for school. But that's what he said he wanted. But anyway, and Kimmie did all that already. She's not interested in doing that again. And raising another teenager is very challenging to raise a teenage boy, especially as a single mother. So she's like, I'm not doing that again. But anyway, seasons 1, 2, and 3, it was Kimmie complaining about not having enough time. Kimmie said she got an emotional support dog because Maurice has not been there for her emotionally. Why is all this coming out now? Are they trying to explain what they were doing without actually admitting to it? Is that what's happening right now? Or are they legitimately saying, okay, this is a real storyline, we have issues with sex in our relationship? I don't think sex and Kimmie is an issue. I think Kimmie wants to please her man. I just think that every single day, it's hard on the hardware. Women don't enjoy sex every single day, especially as the relationship progresses. Things happen, hormones change, we have work, right? Women have full-time jobs. Imagine me having a full-time job, paying all these bills, and then coming home to have sex with you, or else you're going to get it from somewhere else, instead of you using your hand to take care of your business. Just like women use vibrators to take care of their business, right? A lot of men don't pleasure women sexually. A lot of women can't have an orgasm through regular penetration. I don't want to get too graphic, but that's what it is, okay? They need to use tools to help them. They're not saying, oh, you can't make me have an orgasm, so I'm going to cheat and find a man that will. They're saying, let me satisfy myself because my man can't do it, whatever the case may be. So for these men to act like the only alternative is for them to find someone else to have sex with if they can't have it with their wives at the time is insane to me. And I'm not sure if this is a real storyline, like I said, or this is like some other stuff going on where they're trying to drum up some shit for the sake of ratings, or trying to justify and explain away things that they have done in the past when they were not as where they were not being held accountable for their actions, when they could hide under the obscurity of not being on a reality TV show. Now that they're on a reality TV show and Ariane knew all their dirt, there's a magnifying glass on everything that they're doing. And I think this has forced them to reflect on their behaviors in the past. Maybe they were, being really reckless sexually, and they're like, well, we need it that bad. That's why we were so reckless. No, you're reckless because you're reckless. There are some people who like to have sex, but they can control themselves and they can channel that energy into other productive endeavors, right? Starting businesses, helping businesses to grow. Marceau has done a good job of that. And I think that Marceau may have felt more confident in himself, because I think that they were having some financial issues before the show started. And a lot of times when men don't feel secure financially, they need to have their ego stroked. When men feel insecure about something, sex is usually the first thing they fall back on to feel better about themselves. That's why men can work 10, 12 hours a day and still say, I want to have sex. And women can say, I'm working 10, 12 hours a day. I don't even want to, please don't touch me right now. Let me just relax. Let me decompress. Let me clean up the house and make dinner for the kids, right? Let me do my household chores while you get to sit back and relax like Marceau does. Women are wired for sex differently from men. Men can compartmentalize. Men like Martel, he can have sex with a woman for years and not give a fuck about her at all, right? We saw this with Ariane. People perceived Martel's actions as love, but it was just lust. He got caught up in a soul tie with somebody who resonated with him energetically, right? And now that he's learned certain lessons about himself, potentially, I think there's no need for them to be as attracted to each other anymore. Hopefully, Ariane has learned some very valuable lessons about herself and Martel, right? Hopefully, she's learned that it's not in her best interest to always be against a woman. Women are not your enemy, okay? There are some women who are jealous and bitter and petty like her, but in a situation where a man is cheating, it is usually in the woman's best interest to be on the side of the woman that's being cheated on, not the man, okay? That's just a general rule. If you're being, if you're a mistress or a side piece, please respect the wife to the point where you don't believe the bullshit of the husband. If you got to be with the guy and you can't stay away from him, try not to antagonize the wife in the process. Try not to destroy her and to get him for yourself, because he's going to treat you the way that he treated his wife at the very least, or he's going to resent you for disrupting his perfect life. Most men, and we see this in Love and Marriage DC, they will do anything to protect their families. They can have their slides on the side, whatever the case may be, but their heart is at home with their wives. They marry their wives. Most men marry women who are connected to their hearts, their heart chakra, who remind them of their mother, right? If you don't remind a man of his mother, he is more than likely not going to want to settle down with you. Or if his mama was ratchet, he's going to be attracted to a ratchet woman, okay? Martel's mother, or his grandmother at the very least, was very protective of him. She probably spoiled him a lot, and he was probably coddled, right? So Melody seems to be the type of woman to spoil her partner. Like, she'll go 10 toes down extra hard, be protective and loving and nurturing, and go like extra hard for her man. She seems to be the type, like a mama bear type. That is what Martel is attracted to. Ariane doesn't have a mama bear personality. She has a thought in the club personality. It's all about her booty, her hair, and her clothes, and how she looks. She's not the type, in my opinion, to put her children first. I'm not saying she hasn't done that, but there's a certain disposition that you have as a mama bear versus a hot woman who had a child, a MILF, okay? So Ariane was presenting herself as a MILF and not a mama bear type, right? Yes, she protected Martel, but Martel probably saw the way that she treated her own child and did not like that. I don't know how Ariane treats her children. I don't pay too much attention to her to take notice of that. I have heard some comments and read some comments from people, but Martell probably took notice to the way that Ariane treats her kids. And he was like, I don't want that for my kids. I don't feel nurtured in this relationship. I feel like she's a good lay. She's good for sex. She's good for making me feel good about myself. But, you know, once I lose my optimal source of supply, I can't really do much with this Laffy Taffy junk food that I've been getting for the past few years, right? Funky Dineva said this. It is great when you have the chicken, the corn, the mashed potatoes, and then the coleslaw, but you cannot sustain yourself on coleslaw alone. It's not going to be satisfying after a while. You need something with more nutritional value. You need some fats. You need some, you know, I don't know what else, but you need something that will satisfy your appetite more than coleslaw. And Ariane was proud of being called coleslaw. That is how dense she was, or that is how delusional she was about Martell. And now she's saying that she thinks that Martell played her, but she played herself too. I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit. But anyway, the whole thing with Maurice and Marceau. Yeah, Maurice, to me, when Tisha last season asked Maurice to watch out for Marceau, to make sure he's not cheating. When they were in Vegas, right, and they were, the guys were going to go on their own way, and the girls were going to do their own thing and hang out. Tisha said, Maurice, make sure that, you know, Marceau behaves. And I'm like, and Maurice had to look in his eye like, you're going to think that he's behaving because I'm not going to tell you nothing anyway. Like, I am here to protect his secrets. I don't know what you think, but I'm more loyal to my brother than I am to my sister-in-law. Especially if I'm doing the same thing and I'm on the same type of time. Like, why would I tell on him if telling on him is going to expose my shit too? If I tell on Marceau, then I'm going to have a magnifying glass on me, and then I won't be able to cheat in peace. I'm not saying that Marceau, I'm not saying that Maurice is like this voracious womanizer. I'm not saying that at all. I am saying that, you know, he has done his dirt in the past. When he said that he had sex with 6 different women in one day, that is somebody who has something going on. Like, you go from 6 to 1 woman a few times a week. Of course he was doing his thing, right? But he was respectful about it to the point where Kimmie could not tell, right? He didn't change his ways about her. Kimmie didn't have random women popping up at her doorstep or calling her phone talking shit. Martell wanted Melody to find out about this mistress, I think. I think some part of him, once Melody did find out, he wanted to condition her to get used to it, right? He would lie and say, oh, no, I'm not doing it no more. But he would keep going back to Ariane and kind of like triangulating with Melody, like causing arguments and doing things that would give him the opportunity to cheat. He wanted Melody to be suspicious because her suspicions made her uncomfortable and kept her on her toes and made her pay more attention to him instead of her businesses. That's what I think he was trying to do. But I think Martell wanted Melody to find out about his mistress. That's why he didn't check her when she called the phone, when she disrespected his wife in his home. Okay? The guy Jamie from Love and Marriage DC, Arena talked about the fact that, you know, Jamie has some stuff in the past. Potentially, she never caught him doing anything. Jamie seems like the type who would hurt a woman who is trying to ruin his perfect life. Like, if some chick popped up, Jamie would pay for that to get, you know, to disappear. Okay? Martell, on the other hand, was so bold with his cheating that I think that at the very least it emboldened Marceau and Maurice because they were all doing it together. They were the bald-headed rat pack, right? All 3 men in their late 30s, early 40s, married to women for over a decade, right? Bored, feeling invalidated, feeling worthless for different reasons, and they're using women as a band-aid for their emotional issues. And so for Maurice to act like Kimmie is not giving him sex when he's essentially deprioritized her for the most of their relationship. Kimmie had to wait 2 years for a honeymoon. Yes, he was in law school. I get that. But I think I wouldn't be surprised that he was in Atlanta while he was in law school too. Right? I wouldn't be surprised that Marceau, Maurice, and Martell took that Atlanta trip while Maurice was in law school. Because law school is a few years, right? And Kimmie got married to Maurice when the show first started in season 1. They had a 7-year relationship prior to that. And Maurice was like in his final stages of school. I don't know if he went through, I don't know how much he had to do. He could have gotten his undergraduate degree years ago and then went back for his law degree, which could have taken a few years. But I'm sure he was in Atlanta when he was in law school. So he could have taken Kimmie on this 2-day little honeymoon trip, perhaps, so that she could feel better about their relationship, unless his money wasn't on point and he didn't feel comfortable with having Kimmie pay for the honeymoon, which happens sometimes too. But like I said, yeah, I didn't like the fact that Maurice was kind of alluding to the fact that Kimmie is all perfect, but we need more sex. Like, there are other things to do besides that. And you're not in your 20s anymore. You're in your 40s now. You're overweight. You're older. You have a child and other responsibilities. There are other things you can do for fun besides that. And like a big person, you can take care of your business with your hand. Go into the bathroom and take care of your business. What's the problem? To try to use sex as a bargaining tool to go on this trip. You know, Kimmie is, in my opinion, a good wife also. She can cook, right? She takes care of her home. She's very independent. She's self-assured. She's a great communicator. She's not messy. It's just that I feel like she infantilizes herself when she's talking to Maurice. She knows she's older than him, and that's something I'm sure that is always in her mind. She doesn't want to appear to be as old as she is, and she doesn't seem old at all. But it's the reality of living in America when you are a woman of a certain age and you're married to a younger man who's relatively attractive with a high sex drive. You're going to feel some way about your age. And I feel like she tries to play up her, she tries to act younger or act dumber. Her voice gets really whiny a little bit. Oh, Maurice, how can you say that? How can you say we don't have enough sex? I mean, we work, we have sex a few times a week. You don't want it enough. But when she's speaking to Kiki or to Kaiwa or to Melody, she has more bass in her voice. She speaks to Maurice as if she's afraid of losing him. But you were already a boss before you met him. He wouldn't have been with you if he had nothing to gain from that relationship. And so I'm not saying I don't like Kimmie. I love Kimmie. Kimmie's awesome. Compared to other people on the show, Kimmie is non-messy, and I like her energy, right? She's not the type of person to start mess without, well, I should say that, before this season, before she passed on this message to teach about Kiki at the slumber party, she didn't seem to be too messy, and she seemed to be someone who has her heart in the right place, okay? But when she's trying to fit in with the Scott family, there's a certain level of dysfunction she has to kind of, she has to be a part of, I guess. She has to dumb herself down to their level, in my opinion, to be able to get along with them. Didn't Kimmie say in previous seasons that if she were not sister-in-laws with Tisha, she wouldn't hang out with her? And now all of a sudden they're buddy-buddy, friendly-friendly. It's just weird. Like, I understand you want to get along with your sister-in-law. That's good. It's weird stuff. But, yeah. Maurice is the fox guarding the hen house. He is the good cop. He is the one that women trust their boyfriends or their husbands with, right? Oh, I know he's not going to do him dirty. He's with Maurice. Well, Maurice is the one who will hide the bodies better than anybody, because you don't suspect him of doing anything. Marceau chastised Louis for breaking guy code. Maurice probably created guy code because he's older than Marceau. Maurice knows how to play the game very well. He's a seasoned veteran in the game, okay? He's wiser. He's not as messy as Martel. He knows, if you see the way that he presents himself, he is very deliberate about how he appears. I don't think I've ever seen him not wearing a suit or a blazer on the show. He's always appearing to be something, right? He's always having on I think he had on a t-shirt a couple of times. I don't know. But he's usually dressed professionally, right? That is the way he wants to be perceived. Just like Marceau, he's a stickler for images, okay? And I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I don't think so at all. I think he has a better, more controlled temperament than Martell. He's a bit more understanding and reasonable and rational, but he's the type to rationalize cheating as well. He's the type who would be a smart cheater. He wouldn't cheat with somebody that he would want to leave his wife for. He would cheat with somebody who he has no connection with. He would cheat with somebody who has something to lose. I'm interested in finding out who these elder men that Martell was talking to about his marriage. Because Melody said that Martell told her, the older men said, don't cheat on somebody with something to lose. Because he was getting game. Don't cheat on somebody who would drop dime on you. And if Maurice and Marceau have been cheating, they would know this firsthand. They'll be experts at this. This is something that I think Marceau or Maurice would tell Martell. Period. I'm not saying this happened. I'm speculating here, but I wouldn't be surprised. And so I really want Kimmie to stop walking around on eggshells with Maurice. And stop talking to him like he's made of glass, okay? I'm not saying call him a bald-headed motherfucker. I'm not saying that at all. But you know, have some conviction in your voice when you're talking to him. Don't sound like you're apologizing for having your thoughts as you're expressing your concerns to him. Okay? Kimmie has made a lot of compromises in this relationship. She's waited 7 years. She has their son living with him. She had to wait 2 years for the anniversary, right? She went through a lot of stuff with Maurice, and she had more going on for herself than he did. So now all of a sudden, oh yeah, definitely, you can work on the sex. So everything else is all good, right? You're getting some sex. I'm working full time. I'm running a business. I'm maintaining the household, cooking and cleaning. Because Kimmie said that Maurice is like Marceau. And I already knew that. Because Maurice is older. I knew that. Maurice is the good cop. He's the good cop. Okay? So they figured out early on in life that I can get away with more stuff if I act one way and my brother acts another way. They can be each other's wingman if they're on the same page. So I'm happy that the brothers have this close-knit relationship, but it's usually at the expense of their wives. And like I said, I don't want Kimmie to feel like she has to compromise herself and what she wants and her feelings in order to appease to Maurice. She doesn't want to be lonely. She wants to grow old with somebody. I understand that and I sympathize with her. Because, you know, if you went through your whole adult life as a single parent, you never got to go on vacations with somebody, you never got to experience being in partnership, versus somebody who got married at 18, 19 years old. By the time they're 40, 50, they're like, listen, I will never get married again. I will never be a slave again. So Kimmie is experiencing what a lot of women who are married go through. You have to kind of mute yourself or dumb yourself down to appeal to the ego of these emotionally stunted and spoiled men. Okay? Kimmie is far too intelligent to be using that kind of tone and disposition with Maurice. Not to compare everybody with Melody, but look at the way that Melody spoke to Martell in seasons 1, 2, and 3 versus the way Tisha and Kimmie talks to Martell, right? Melody can be a very sweet, gentle woman, but you can't BS her. And if you try to BS her, she's going to get agitated. And she's going to feel like you're insulting her intelligence. And then she'll get aggressive and angry, right? Some women will play it off. Oh, you're playing with me. It's okay. I'm going to act like I don't know what the fuck is going on because I want to keep the peace. Melody is not like that. She's like, I want things to be out in the open because then we can have a clear, honest conversation. If I confront you about your BS, you can't lie to me. Now we can honestly address why you're BSing and lying in the first place. Why are you doing this? Right? Instead of, oh, you know, why do you feel like we don't get enough sex? Melody would say something like, maybe you would get more sex if you were doing this, that, and the third. Like, you're not talking to me dirty. I don't feel like you are trying to seduce me. I feel like I'm just a sex object. Melody would probably say something like that, right? And she did allude to the fact that Martell he didn't want to talk dirty to her. And so that probably didn't turn her on. He probably was just like pump and dump because he can't use his words like that anyway. So she probably felt like, okay, you're just using me like a sex object. I need more finesse. I need more romance. I need more suave. Not only after I caught you cheating, but, you know, on regular occasions too, when you want to get me to open up to you and be more turned on. Like these women are working all day, then coming home to cook and clean and watch after the kids while the men are out at the bar hanging out. And then when the women are exhausted from working 18 hours, 17 hours, 16 hours in a day, the men turn around and pull your underwear down. Like, who are you talking to? That's sad. A lot of women are happier with the idea of having a husband than actually being married. And it's not to shit on all marriages. There's some wonderful, beautiful, lovely marriages that I have seen where the partners are equal. They both contribute. They both support each other. They're both understanding. All this stuff. But more often than not, that's why the divorce rate is 50% plus. More often than not, women are like, yo, I feel like a slave and a sex doll to a grown man. Women always say, who are married, I don't have 4 kids, I have 5. My husband's one of my children. Like, who's doing that? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Later on today, I want to address Arion's comments about basically Martell playing her. Even though she said they both kind of played each other. I'm going to get into that a little bit more, okay? I look forward to reading you guys' comments. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.